Welcome to Cody in the Cinema. Today I'm discussing the Criterion Collection's May releases that have, been released from the collection, the titles. And you know what? I'm a pretty big fan of this. I think it's a good mix, a good blend of different genres and styles of filmmaking. And ultimately, I think this is another good month for them in a series of really good months. And released on Valentine's Day. I mean, how awesome is that? So I'm going to talk about the films I'm a little bit less interested in that I may not buy, but I'll probably would see anything from this particular release. And then I'll go through and talk about ones that I'm either consider purchasing or that I am purchasing. And at the end, I'm going to talk about one film that I'm very excited for to be joining the collection. One there's already in there that I'm excited for a 4K, but the other one, it will be nice as well. So there are these two British comedies. And I don't tend to buy too many comedies, but I think these are going to be a big hit in the collection. They're called With Nell and I, and the other film, which I think has a great name, is How to Get Ahead in Advertising. So the With Nell and I think, is about something that happens. For those of you that have seen it, you might be able to describe this better than me. I'm just kind of reading off of what the website posted. They're desperate to, these actors, desperate to escape their nightmarishly grimly flat, and grimly flat, and grimy flat. Grimly flat. Okay, you know what? It's a grimy flat. And they're going to embark on a hilariously misbegotten country getaway. Bear Cupboard's a randy uncle, and apparently they're on a bit of a bender while this is going on. It's supposed to have a lot of quotable moments. The film that, to me, was a little bit more inherently interesting was what they said about how to get ahead in advertising. They're calling it a diabolically dark satire of runaway capitalism in Margaret Thatcher era England. And, it's a satire of, I guess, ad agencies and so forth. So I know nothing about these films. I'm just kind of trying to take what I've read and give it to you and tell you my thoughts. But they sound pretty good to me, especially this particular Bruce Robinson, this advertising movie. I think it's very timely. So that is like my thoughts on that. I'm not probably won't buy those. The one that I thought was maybe I might consider possibly buying if other people that I know in the community talk me into it was this 2-pack of the Three Musketeers and the Four Musketeers by Richard Lester. This is almost entirely off of the strength of the cast, which includes, Oliver Reed and Charlton Heston in one of the films, Faye Dunaway. There's just these big names just all over the cast. And of course, I think this is inspired by the classic novel. I watched trailers for all of these films being released, and I did think that there was a certain amount of excitement in what I saw out of the swashbuckling. It didn't seem to me to be too different from what someone like Errol Flynn was doing. And that's never been my top priority, but I'm certainly glad it's coming into the collection. That's the kind of thing that needs to be there for people that are a big fan of that. So the films I just discussed, I think, are all worth seeing. I will probably try to see them, but I just may not buy them. The three films that I'm two of these I'm going to buy. One of them I'm on the fence about. So Abbas Kiarostami, I own one of his films. I own Close Up. Scorsese was a big fan of that film. And I've seen Taste of Cherry, which I think you maybe can only get in DVD. Maybe you can get a Blu. You might be able to get a Blu-ray now. I had an issue with his films that had nothing to do with his filmmaking. I just didn't personally connect with them on a single try of each one. Often, as a film watcher, as a film lover, if you're like me, that will happen to you with a director, and then you could watch another film from them, and all of a sudden you just love all their films. This happened to me to a lesser extent with Robert Bresson. The first time I watched Pickpocket, I liked it, but I didn't love it. And now Bresson's one of my favorite directors. So I'll be curious if I watch The Wind Will Carry Us, which was just released, if that will change. This does sound like a good movie. There is an undercover documentarian who is trying to cover a small village funeral rites that is being held up by some old woman's refusal to die. That sounds like that director to me, especially after seeing Taste of Cherry. That sounds like an interesting premise. And I do think his films have some beautiful individual images. So those of you that like Kiarostami quite a bit, I think this is like a lights out win. Like people have been waiting for a film like this to come into the collection, and I think it belongs. But like I said, those of you that like him maybe a little better than I do, let me know your thoughts. I know he is on the slow cinema side, and I typically like a lot of slow cinema. I talk about Chantal Akerman on here frequently, Bela Tarkovsky, like multiple directors who are on the slower side. I don't know, just if you all can help me in the comments, maybe I'm just missing something and I haven't quite connected with the work of someone who I know is very talented. So I'm hoping that will change, because I know I'm missing something. Something as a film watcher that we should all try to do is just kind of keep our mind open to cinema that has a greatness to it, even if it hasn't personally affected us just yet. Just one film away. All right, a little off topic there, but I thought it was worth saying. So the two things I'm most excited for, Jacques Demy's The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, that I have not seen. And this is a rare case of being put off by the language barrier. And let me explain what I mean by that. I don't care what language a film is in, but for a musical, for a long time, I've kind of had this misplaced idea that, well, it's in another language, so because it's music specifically, that will really matter. I watched the trailer finally, and I don't care at all. I had not actually even really given the film a chance, but it was Patton Oswalt said the film was like lickable. He said it was because everything looked like food you wanted to eat because there was so much color, and that in 4K with the beautiful vocals and scenery and everything that I heard and looked at in the trailer looks delightful. I know very little of what it's about. I know it's a love story to an extent. I don't know how happy ending it is. I mean, I kind of get the feeling this might be a little bit darker, but it says that Catherine Deneuve or Deneau, sorry, plays an umbrella shop owner's delicate daughter and falls for a garage mechanic. That sounds cool. So I think I'm going to really enjoy that one, especially in the 4K. Those of you that seen the film, if you would say Cody in the cinema, you're going to love it, you can let me know. But the film that I'm most excited for, and I was very recently looking for a copy of this, and I'm glad that Criterion is putting this out, is Charles Burnett's very famous Killer of Sheep. A mosaic, it says, of black life in the Watts neighborhood of Los Angeles. A father torn down by his job in the slaughterhouse. I have seen one or two individual scenes of this film, and they're just awesome, what I saw of it. And this is very much like something I've been trying to find for years. I remember for a long time, I've been looking for The Mother and the Whore to see that film. For example. And I saw that, and then I bought it in the collection, watched a lot of it again. I'll probably go watch the whole film again. Beautiful film that I know was hard for people to find for a long time. And I love when Criterion could pull in something like this, especially in black and white. So I'm very much, the Killer of Sheep is a completely, I guess, surprised me. I didn't know that was going to enter the collection. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, some of the others, I think this is a good month for them. What did you all think? Were you excited? Was there anything here that you think that didn't belong, or you were like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad it is finally here? If you like this, if you found this helpful and you want to click the like button, and if you have any thoughts on what I was talking about with not connecting with a well-known, well-acclaimed director like I don't with Gurustami, let me know, and we'll see you next time on Cody in the Cinema.